Hello, my beautiful friends. It is me, Taylor. And you might be thinking, Taylor, why is your camera quality so bad? Why are you in a different location? You know what? I just had to switch it up a little bit, okay? So I'm using this is my rationality for this, okay? Everyone's using like the disposable cameras and it's like cool. Like it used to be like, 2 years ago it was cool to have like a really high quality IG pic. And now it's cool to have like a grainy weird colored, which like I love film photos. Like I think that they're so cute. Why aren't we doing like low quality YouTube videos? Like is that going to be the next trend? So here I am hopping on the trend before everyone else does as usual. And I was like, you know what? A MacBook photo booth video. That's going to be the next big thing. And here I am doing it. So if you want to copy me, that's totally fine. I'm expecting it at this point. So it's totally fine. But today's video, you guys, now that I'm in this little cozy location, I'm just lounging on my Pottery Barn, what do you call these pillows? Like armchair pillow? I don't know, but I love my armchair pillow. And my background of my little moon photos is very fitting for the topic of this video, which is the highly awaited, by literally no one, video of me explaining what is the deal with the full and new moons. What are they? How do I use them? What do I do on them? Am I supposed to do something? What do I do? How do I do it? What does it mean? What did the sun, a new moon in Virgo, a full moon in Aquarius, what does it mean? Girl, I'm here to show you, okay? Of course, I prepared a full PowerPoint. I think it's pretty cute. In my opinion, like the font that I use and like the background, honestly, I snapped. So I'm going to be going through that with you guys. Let's get into the PowerPoint, people. First, I'm going to do a little history of the moon lesson, because you guys know, I don't know if you know, I don't know if I ever talked about this, I'm like obsessed with like ancient civilizations, like the Egyptians, ancient Greeks, the gods, the Sumerians, the pyramids, all that stuff. The moon was actually used as an ancient form of timekeeping in most all ancient civilizations, such as the Egyptians, Sumerians, and Chinese dynasties. Its natural 29.5 day cycle is what inspired our modern month. That might have been like common knowledge, but next is the astrology of the moon, okay? So the moon, that was a moon from like a history's perspective, but now we're going from an astrological perspective. What is the moon? So the moon changes signs every 2.5 days. No, folks. If you didn't watch my Astrology 101 intro video, my Astrology for Beginners video, you might be like, the moon 2.5 days, what? Yeah. I explained that in that video, but basically, you know how the sun, obviously there's 12 sun signs, or like zodiac signs, right? Libra, Aquarius, Gemini, Virgo, Sagittarius, Leo, there's all of those. And there's 12 of those throughout the year, so they change every about month. But the moon is also in a sign at all times, So if you're a Gemini, you might have a Taurus moon. If you're a Virgo, you might have a Leo moon, okay? Like, you have a sun sign and a moon sign. Makes sense? But the moon signs change every 2.5 days as opposed to the sun signs, which change every month. So you could have been born August 7th and you're a Leo with a Gemini moon, and then your friend is born August 10th and she's a Leo with a Cancer moon. Is this making sense? Go watch my other video if it doesn't make any sense, because I explain it way better in there with another PowerPoint, of course. So, just like how the zodiac signs cycle throughout the year, the moon cycles throughout the month. Everyone has a moon sign or the sign in their birth chart that shows which sign the moon was in at the time of their birth. Mine's Scorpio. Actually, you know what I found out today? Ralph Lauren, like the designer, like Polo. I was listening to this podcast, the Vogue podcast about the 90s fashion. So good. I can't wait for season 2 of the 2000s. It's gonna be so iconic. So anyways, I was listening to the Vogue podcast today, and they were talking about Ralph Lauren and like how he basically came up with his brand. And I was like, oh, that's totally something I would do. And then I was like, like what if we have the same signs? Like I bet he's a Libra. I look up his birth chart. He's a Libra, okay? October 14th, like 1939. And I'm like, stop. Like, what if he has a Scorpio moon? Because, like, I don't remember what exactly they said, but it was literally, I was like, I would do that. Like, that is so something I would do. The man has a Scorpio moon. That's just little, sorry, this is gonna make no sense, but I'll get into it later. So, finding the house in your chart that the full moon occurs in can help you further understand the intentions and energy that will be influenced under the full moon, or the new moon, okay? For example, the full moon in Aquarius occurred in my 4th house. All right, so the full moon was in Aquarius. Aquarius is in my 4th house. So the full moon was occurring in my 4th house. The 4th house, if you don't know, again, go watch my other video, but the 4th house is ruled by Cancer, so it has to do with like the home and family. So the full moon in Aquarius occurred in my 4th house, which means that that full moon in Aquarius would bring up those issues with like family and home. Did that make absolutely no sense? I know! Oh my god, it's so exciting. See, there's a lot to learn here, folks. It's a whole science. It's a whole science, okay? I haven't spent 3 years of my life devoted to this for nothing, folks, okay? I've been making PowerPoints. And also, if the sign that the moon is in is dominant in your birth chart, you will feel the full or new... Sorry, I just ate Wheat Thins. If the sign that the moon is dominant in your birth chart, you will feel the full or new moon's effects more intensely. For example, when there's a Scorpio full or new moon, I will be feeling it more than others because I have a Scorpio stellium. Which, if you don't know what a Scorpio stellium is, it means 3 or more planets in the same house. So I have a Scorpio stellium. So Scorpio is the most dominant thing in my chart. So if there was a full or new moon in Scorpio, I would feel it more intensely than someone who has no Scorpio in their chart. Next, now we're really getting into the beef of it, folks. And I'm vegetarian. Obviously, I'm sure we all know what a full moon looks like. It's when the moon is nice and big and juicy up in the sky, okay? But what is it actually? Scientifically, if you shall let me do... Anyways, a full moon occurs when the moon is in the opposite sign as the sun. Therefore, the sun can fully illuminate the moon's surface. So basically, you know, in the solar system, there's the sun, there's the earth, and then the moon goes around the earth, right? Here's the sun, this is the earth, and the top of my finger is the moon. So the moon is going around earth, and when the moon is here, in between the sun and the earth, the sun is illuminating the side that's facing away. So the side that's facing us looks dark, which would be a new moon. But when the moon is on this side of the earth, the sun can illuminate the surface of the moon that we see, making it look full. I'm literally a scientist. Ah! When it's Leo season, for example, the opposite sign of Leo, so 6 months away, is Aquarius. So if it's Leo season, any full moon that occurs during Leo season will be in Aquarius because it has to be, you know, over here in Aquarius because the sun is over here in Leo. So if the moon wants to be here, it's going to be in the opposite sign of Aquarius. But the new moons, boop, the moon is over in Leo with the sun. These are both in Leo. It's going to be a new moon. So when it's Sagittarius season and there's a new moon, it's going to be in Sagittarius. If it's Sagittarius season and there's a full moon, it's going to be in Gemini. Little hack for ya. And the full moon occurs every 29.5 days, hence where we get our modern month from. That's a little bit about the full moon kind of scientifically or astrologically. Let's kind of talk about it from a manifestation standpoint. So, right when I said that, I looked at, my video was at 11:11. The tea, the drama. So the full moon is typically regarded as a time of harvesting and a time to show gratitude for everything you have accomplished throughout the moon cycle. So basically you will look back on the past month and be like, wow, like I did this, I learned this, I accomplished this, and basically just be like grateful for it. So that moves me to my next point, which is write a gratitude list. Be like, oh, I'm so grateful that I got to go to Florida. I'm so grateful that I got a new job. I'm so grateful that I got a raise. I'm so grateful that I did this and that I, you know, broke up with my boyfriend or whatever it is, whatever you did that you're, you know, that you accomplished that month. These are some things that you can do on the full moon to kind of like use its energy. So write a gratitude list for all the things that you have accomplished. Write down all the things you accomplished or learned in the past 30 days, which I already said. And then write a list of the things that no longer serve you. So the full moon is basically a reflection period. So you can reflect on, oh wow, I accomplished this, I did this, I did this, I did this, and this, and this. But then you can also say, this happened and this was not good and I don't need this in my life anymore. Like, what can I remove? What was bad about this past 30 days and what can I remove from my life? Like, clear it out, you know? So write a list of the things that no longer serve you, which are like bad habits, people, things, situations, thought patterns, and release it. All you have to do is like write on a piece of paper, this full moon I release, and then write a list of all the things you release. Put it next to your bed. I also usually take a bath and I'll put my list next to my bath too so I can think about it in the bath because the moon, if you don't know, is ruled by Cancer, which is a water sign, which makes the moon like a kind of like a watery, you know how the moon like affects the tides, right? So taking a bath kind of like puts you in like water during the full moon to absorb the energy more, if that makes sense. And last thing is just clean your space. You're getting rid of everything. You're just starting a new, it's always good to clean your space on like the new moon cycle. So that's what you should do on the full moon. Now, what is a new moon? So a new moon occurs when the moon is in the same sign as the sun, the time in the moon's orbit where it is between the sun and the earth, therefore making it look dark to us. For example, when it's Virgo season, the new moon will always be in Virgo. And a new moon, again, occurs every 29 and a half days, same as the full moon. So the new moon is regarded as a time of new beginnings, and this time can be used for manifesting and goal setting for the upcoming 30 days. So things you can do are write down a list of gratitude for things that you want to manifest in the present tense as if you already have it. So that's the difference. You always want to express gratitude every single day. However, during the full moon, you're like, wow, I did this. Thank you so much, universe, for giving me these opportunities. But on the new moon, you're like, oh, like, I want to buy a Bentley. So you're like, oh my God, universe, I'm so grateful that I have the means to buy this Bentley. Makes sense? So write down a list of gratitude, but like in that format versus the full moon format. And then, of course, write down all your goals and things that you want to manifest in the next 30 days. And this can be done by scripting. You can like write down basically like an ideal day in your life, or like how your ideal life would want to be as if it's in the present tense. I'm sure you guys have heard, if you're like into this stuff, you probably heard of scripting before, but that's another thing you could do on the new moon as well. And now, our last slide. What do the signs mean? So we know what a full moon is. We know what a new moon is. But what is it when someone says, oh, there's a full moon in Aquarius. Oh, there's a new moon in Cancer. Oh, there's a full moon in Sagittarius. The sign that the full or new moon is in shows us two things. Let's just take, for example, the new moon in Virgo that's happening tonight. Find which house that sign falls in your birth chart, and it will show you what part of your life this full or new moon will impact most. My Virgo is in the 11th house. So the 11th house is about like innovation, creativity. It's ruled by Aquarius. The new moon will mostly affect that area of my life. And so when I'm doing my manifestations and my goal setting, I can kind of tailor my goals to Virgo, but also to Aquarius because that's the house that it's in. So always find out which house full or new moon is in, or like say it's in Sagittarius, that would be in my second house, which is like the house of material possessions. So manifesting material possessions maybe at the new moon. So the second thing it shows you is knowing about the sign that the moon is in can help you harness the energy of it a little bit better. So for example, for this new moon in Virgo, I did obviously my new moon like little rituals in my journal and everything, writing down my manifestations like I just told you guys to do. I did that this morning. Knowing a little bit about the sign Virgo, it rules like routine, health, work, organization, stuff like that. If you know any Virgos, you know the Virgos. Like they're very easy to spot. My dad is a Virgo, okay? I have actually a lot of Virgo in my chart because my chart is Mars ruled and then my Mars is in Virgo, so I'm very much Virgo, and then I was raised by a Virgo, so it's very deeply ingrained into me. So I love this Virgo new moon. So I mostly tailored my goals to work, to bettering my routines, to bettering my health, bettering my organization. Whereas if the new moon was in Cancer, which rules like the home and family, I would tailor my goals and manifestations to the home and family. Those are two things you want to know, the house that it's in and then what the sign is. And it also depends on how dominant the sign is in your chart. Like for me, Virgo is very dominant in my personality, whereas to you, it might not be. And you might be more dominant in Cancer. You might be more dominant in Taurus. Whereas like I'm not dominant. I don't have any Cancer in my chart. I only have one thing in Taurus in my chart, you know? So you guys, that is everything about the full and new moons. If you guys have any questions, feel free to leave them down below. And of course, watch my other astrology for beginners video if you haven't already and you're interested in this kind of stuff. I go really into depth in that video about everything, so check that out if you want. Also, if you're into astrology and stuff like this, which you probably are if you're at the end of this video, but I post a lot of stuff on my Instagram about it too. I'll do like reels and posts and story posts about it when the full and new moons are coming up and when like the sign changes. It's about to be Libra season, but I post this stuff on my Instagram too, so you can go follow me on there if you want. And I hope you guys liked this video. If you did, subscribe for more content and give this video a thumbs up. And I will see you guys in my next video. Bye. You got it, girl, you got it. Little baby in a bag and I'm working. No, not a vibe, but you're working. Lost and all, I love them all, to me a perfect. Baby girl, you got it, girl, you got it, girl. You got it, girl, you got it, girl.